Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Let's talk. What we're talking about today is, can Lamar Jackson solve the puzzle, solve the riddle of the Steelers, the Bills, and the Chiefs? This may come off as a criticism, but I assure you that it's not. I'm a legit Lamar Jackson fan, and I don't think at this point I have to defend myself in that context. But it's a real question. It's factual that Lamar Jackson has dominated the league in the regular season most of his career. It is a fact that the Baltimore Ravens dominate when led by the Lamar Jackson offense, dominates the NFC. That's a fact. It's a fact that he dominates the AFC with the exception of the Bills, the Steelers, and the Chiefs. You look at the statistics, the graphic that you see that Lamar Jackson overall in his career is 3-3 against the Bills. You will see that he's 1-5 against the Chiefs, and he's 4-5 against the Steelers, with two of those wins, two of that four against the Steelers coming late in the season last year. One in the regular season, the second game of the regular season, and then the other in the playoffs. But before then, he would have been 2-5. Which means there is something going on in Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City that has Lamar Jackson off his game. Could it be for the Buffalo Bills that Josh Allen is such a rival? He brings such a skill set that it adds extra pressure for Lamar Jackson to perform? Is it in Pittsburgh that the Pittsburgh Steelers use ball control and want to run the ball and make timely plays that limits his opportunity on the field? Or for the Chiefs, could it be that Patrick Mahomes is so elite, and if he has the ball in his hand with the opportunity to score with the game on the line, he will get it done? So it causes Lamar Jackson to do some things, make some mistakes he normally wouldn't make? Could it be that for those offenses? Or could it be, let's flip it and talk about defenses, could it be that the Buffalo Bills defense is so skilled and so well coached that it keeps Lamar Jackson off his game? Or could it be for the Pittsburgh Steelers that they're just so dominant with TJ Watt leading the way that strip sack fumbles are just a common theme of those games? Could it be that the interior pressure makes Lamar change his focus and make decisions that can kind of put him in harm's way? And then for the Chiefs, is it that Chris Jones and the crew have his number? You see, because we've seen some consistent things from Lamar Jackson when facing these teams. I told you before that sometimes it seems like things just happen that do not normally happen against every other team. It's the Bills, the Steelers, and the Chiefs. See, a collective losing record against these teams. It's undeniable, the record that Lamar Jackson has against these teams collectively. A 8-13 record against just these three teams. Every other team in the AFC, every other team in the NFC, he has a winning record against, unless my math is wrong. So what happens? And what needs to happen in 2025 to solve these puzzles? See, first up this season is going to be the Buffalo Bills. And about 3 games later is the Chiefs. So 2 of the 3 we'll have behind. But in the second half of the season, we do face off against the Pittsburgh Steelers twice. I don't think it's necessarily Josh Allen's influence and Patrick Mahomes' influence. I think it's more of a defensive context that causes Lamar Jackson trouble. You see, when you look at each defense, they're composed of solid interior defenders and at least one top-level edge rusher. Now, the Buffalo Bills added Joey Bosa. Is he still top level? I think he could be. I think that it could be Joey Bosa that causes the Baltimore Ravens some trouble, specifically tomorrow night. We understand what Chris Jones is and how he adds value to George Kalafis. And we understand who TJ Watt is and how he's going to add value to the interior defenders. And so maybe it's the instant pressure that causes Lamar heartache. Maybe it's the always having to run around and extend the plays and find somebody open as the defender is beating down on him. Maybe that's what it is. See, because we're used to Lamar Jackson doing Lamar Jackson-like things. Take a look at this. So yeah, in this play, you have Sam Hubbard comes clean, chasing Lamar all over the field. Lamar Jackson throws him to the ground and throws a strike to Isaiah Likely. And that's what we've become accustomed to. But those kind of plays are common for Lamar Jackson, but common and normal are two different things. And this year cannot be the type of play that we become accustomed to. This cannot be the type of play and the type of game that we can become accustomed to as a fan base, as a coaching staff, and as a team to get us out of games with victories. If Lamar Jackson has to run around for an hour and then try to find somebody down the field, this season is going to fall along the wayside. You see, 5 of the 17 games is against these 3 teams who have had his number in some aspects. We've seen turnovers against these teams that don't normally happen. We've seen strip sack fumbles that don't normally happen. We've just seen things happen against these teams. And this is not the season that we can falter. A common thread is this is AFC teams. All teams that are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. All teams who were in the playoffs last season. Another common factor is going to be that we play Pittsburgh in the division. And faltering against Pittsburgh puts us behind the 8 ball, just like we were for most of the season last year. So the question is, what does Lamar Jackson need to do against these teams to bring home victories? I think one of the first things and the main thing is not on Lamar Jackson. I think it has to be a combination of run blocking, pass blocking, and play calling. If their defense is able to get pressure with their front 4, which is typically what happens, it makes the back end job for these teams easier. You see, I think that play calling is going to be a great factor for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. I think against these teams, we have to make sure we're running the ball, because sometimes against the Chiefs, we abort the run. Sometimes we can get a little bit too pass happy. So I think it's going to be play calling and blocking. Of course, it's that way in every single game, but I'm talking about specifically these 3 teams. It has to be pass blocking, run blocking, and play calling. And then for Lamar Jackson, it has to be decision making. We can't afford this. We cannot take 9. We cannot afford this season to leave victories on the field because of untimely mistakes. We got to be on the same page, quarterback to wide receiver. We got to be on the same page, blocking scheme to play calling. And we got to be on the same page, execution. Those have been factors when Lamar Jackson has faced off against these 3 teams specifically. I think the last thing I'll mention, I think, is a common thread when Lamar Jackson and the Ravens face off against these 3 teams, is these 3 teams have elite coaching. Mike Tomlin is an elite coach. When you take a peek at what he's done without a franchise quarterback over the last couple, they haven't won anything, but they've been consistently a winning team. When you think about Andy Reid, a offensive genius, unmatched, unrivaled in my opinion. And then when you look at Sean McDermott, a defensive specialist. And I think you see that when they face off against the Baltimore Ravens. Play calling sometimes for the Ravens don't fall in Lamar Jackson's favor when it comes to offensive play calling, scheme, the call run versus pass, those kind of things. They don't always work out in his favor. And so I think that adds pressure on his plate, on his shoulders, that doesn't make him optimal. Lamar Jackson is elite, but I think he has to have some accompaniment this season in order to get to the ultimate goal. And I think the ultimate goal, a part of it in the 5 of the 17 games against these teams, is going to be solving this riddle. So you guys let me know what you want me to know. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.